Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. On Tobago Updates, viewers, we are now switching our conversation to a not so pretty topic, but one that's very necessary that we need to keep having within our space, and that's in regards to child abuse. I'm being joined by Miss Natasha II, who is the founding director of International Advocacy Against Child Abuse. As you know, we discuss some things that are happening within this space and some attempts to bring more awareness and try to fix some of the deviant behaviors that we have within our space. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Kandace. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, everyone.
All right, so first of all, for those who don't know your organization, just give us an idea of what it is.
Right. So International Advocacy Against Child Abuse is a non-profit organization. We started the mobilization in 2008 and we were formally registered in 2009. Usually we focus on awareness of the negative effects of child abuse, particularly as it affects the home or the school, because we want to work towards fixing traumatic experiences and helping people to heal so that they can have better lives after abuse, because abuse happens. We do that with seminars and workshops, fundraising walks and stuff like that. But we also look at the socioeconomic side of families and things like poverty and so on, and how they may contribute to child abuse. So we do projects like the one I'm going to talk about every now and then, and we invite the public to be part of the process.
All right, so the new project that you have on is One Hot Meal, and this is where you're going to be providing meals for some of these affected families?
Yes. So during the COVID-19 period, we built a database and we would have distributed school hampers, food hampers, etc., and done some counseling for families in need. So we have that database, but we want to add to it. We want to clean it up, and we want to be able to contribute to families that have challenges feeding themselves, especially those with a number of children. In the urban center, we tend to have a lot of poverty. What we want to do is we want to provide 100 hot meals 2 days a week right at the Shore Park Food Hub on Wednesdays, 6 o'clock, so it would be like a supper dinner thing, and on Saturdays, lunch, so around 12 noon. So for 100 families. So we want the public to help us to identify persons who are needy, who need that kind of help, who can just walk in, take their meal without any sort of highlighting or exploitation or anything like that. You take your meal and you go. It's supposed to help, with the daily hustle to get food for all of those children.
And of course, I want to emphasize there that it is really for those people that are in need, not just you who are out there just looking for a free meal.
No, it's not for a party, it's not for a fete, it's not for a lime, it's not harvest. Persons who do struggle to get that meal every day, we want to just ease them up for 2 days a week. We know that today Tiantec is going to raise the light bill. We're going to have the hike advertised today. We know that we may have water rates raising, we have property tax coming, we have a lot of bills coming, and the salaries aren't going up at the same rate. So there is going to be more poverty. The grocery bills are also going up almost every week. So we do need to have some sort of organizations that assist. Right? So what we're doing is we're inviting volunteers to come, people who like these kinds of activities. We're having a meeting on Saturday at the same Shore Park Food Hub. So you could come and be part of the planning, the volunteering, the cooking, the sharing. 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock this Saturday at the Shore Park Food Hub. We've had a number of sponsors over the years, and so we're going to be re-engaging those sponsors. We had support from the Ministry of Gender Affairs. We had support from the Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. This year we're going to be supported by the Secretary for Food Security, Mrs. Natasha Charles-Pansing. We've also had groceries on our list, Penny Savers and Bill Brown Supermarket. We use vouchers to get the food items, and the volunteers come out and they serve and so on. So we're looking forward to having that kind of relationship again. We want to invite the public to come, both identify persons in need and help to just cook, share, love.
Now, give me an idea of, how bad the poverty rates in Tobago is, because sometimes we look at ourselves and we look at our communities and we don't realize that how many people are out there really suffering, because we kind of tend to hide that within ourselves, and a lot of people keep it to themselves. But how big is that problem that we have here in Tobago?
It is actually very significant. In the more rural parts, that might just be represented in terms of your infrastructure, the type of house you live in, the space that you have, etc. But because you can share food, villages tend to share.
Yes.
They share whatever is grown. In the town, you don't have that kind of connection. So you have migrant families, you have persons who poverty just continues from generation to generation. It's just the way they are. You have the household, the children keep coming in the household, and they just don't have the skill. The women, the single parents, don't have the skill to manage their households and their finances, and they pass that on to their children. There is a lot of hunger and there's a lot of poverty. You see people dress nice and they look nice and so on, but a lot of people can't manage 3 balanced meals per day. A lot of households. You have some children going to school and they depend on the school feeding, but sometimes they would take an extra one, or they would keep theirs to carry it home to share with the other children. So there is poverty, and the ones who are really suffering are afraid to ask for help.
And these are the ones that do not get the help that they need, that we have in the state and so on.
And that's why we depend on the public, we depend on the churches, the schools, area representatives, etc. We depend on people to tell us. You know the persons in your village. You know the people who you get along with. You know your neighbors. You know the ones that you will slip the corned beef and the rice to in the weekend quietly and so on. So you give us those contacts. You ask them for us to have the permission to liaise with them, and then we very discreetly partner and help them. That's what we did during the pandemic. Yeah.
And how does the rates of poverty contribute to the levels of child abuse that we see within our society?
It would contribute because you do have frustration building up. And if you don't have the capacity to manage your own emotions, manage your inability to cope, the children will get too hard tapped, they might get a pot spoon behind their head, or they might just have neglect. If you are emotionally incapable of managing the stresses of running your household, you may simply neglect the children that depend on you, or you may burden them by. A lot of parents tend to confide in the children as though they're adults and peers. They're not adults and peers. They depend on you to protect them, and we overburden them, we overstress them, we worry them, and that is a form of child abuse. You have emotional child abuse, you have exploitation sexually as well, because we do have that. We have incest, we have people being beaten, badly beaten, and you think it's cultural, and you think it's good, and you think it's a way that you should raise the child, but you do a lot more harm than good. And poverty is one of those things that can lead to stresses that will allow you to beat up your child unnecessarily.
And now, for those viewers who are watching and not really sure of your background, I mean, of course, you are a teacher. You've been a teacher for many years. I'm not going to say how many years, right? But you have actually had very first-hand experience with children that have come into your classes and the schools and so on that have been the victims of neglect and abuse.
Well, the impetus behind the formation of the group would have come out of that. You do have, if you're a teacher, you do have young persons coming to you and explaining some very detailed, horrific, gory kind of sexual exploitation taking place by their immediate family members. And way back then, our systems weren't as rigorous as they may be developing now. I don't think they're completely rigorous yet. You did not get as much support from the police service, from families, etc. Incest was very taboo, very personal, very big family secret.
Yes.
And to get involved, it might have been a dangerous situation. So I would have had personal experiences and so on, and I learned to tough it out. And I created a format that allowed us to actually help children without depending too much on the system. You know what I mean? Sort of invading people's spaces in a safe way and actually doing things that help, that really help both the children and the families to get past various forms of child abuse. Because it is real, it exists, and it is still here.
And tell me a bit about how that has affected some of the children in school and their ability to perform and the ability to study and do well.
Of course, it's going to be a situation where you have negative effects on how you perform. you are distracted. A lot of the children who are sexually exploited are exploited from very young ages. So they didn't even know that it's not something that you do with daddy or uncle or whoever. So sometimes they go and they share it with a colleague in school, and that is when they discover, but this is abnormal. And then you have the pressure of keeping the secret. You can't study properly your biology, your chemistry, your physics with this burden of this secret, trying to protect other members of your family, because your perpetrator may threaten to kill everybody if you tell, or hurt everybody if you tell, etc. Or you may just feel guilty as though you will mash up the family. You can't focus properly on your schoolwork. You tend to see yourself as this damaged one. You're always asking yourself, why me? Why was this the selected one? Why God didn't help me? Why is there nobody to help me, etc. So it's a very damaging thing. And we have a lot. One of the things I usually tell persons in seminars, if you're in a room with 6 people, according to the data, 1 in 6 persons had some sort of sexual exploitation as a child. If you look around, a few of those people would be among those people, you know? So we do what we have to do, we do what we can do to reduce the impact of it and to raise and continue the awareness of it.
What results have you seen from your work in terms of working with the children and so on, and just helping these families? What has that been like?
Well, that is the most rewarding of it. When you think about it, it's additional work that you do. Sometimes it's work that, like I said, could be potentially dangerous because people might threaten you and so on. But persons always come back. You see the child grown. I have a number of students who are fully grown now, who have had all sorts of experiences, and I see them very comfortably in their workspace, comfortably with their new families, and I know when they had the breakthrough. I know when they had that point where the experience didn't define them anymore, and they are happy and they're able to contribute positively to society. So I am just very happy because my reward happens almost immediately. I can see the impact on people, and it doesn't come with money and so on. It comes with just happiness, just joy, knowing that you would have been a vessel that God would have used to help to bring some sort of ease to a situation that you understood.
And then what about in terms of getting more people on board with being advocates and being the ones that step in and help people that are, especially the children in need?
Right. We do the seminars and the workshops. Last year we did a conference, Trauma Repurposed, and it involved students and teachers. We were able to galvanize a lot of support from different NGOs, both in Trinidad and in Tobago. What it does is it creates a little spark in somebody else. You give them the tools, you give them the knowledge, you awaken something in them. And so even if they're not formally part of your NGO, they have a different attitude and they will look out for persons where they may not have looked out before. Because it's a dangerous enterprise, a teacher may not want to get involved. But if you're driven internally, you're motivated internally, you will feel the need and you will go ahead and you will do just what I do or better or more. So through the educational programs, we inspire other people to do the same thing.
All right. So, of course, we want people to come forward, recommend those people that are in need to be able to be part of this meals program. When is it going to start?
We want to begin the actual rollout of the meals in 2 weeks' time. So we have 1 week to clean up our data and to do our planning and to do our media tours like what I'm doing now. We want to sensitize the people. So people can start to call me directly. The numbers that they would have been accustomed to, I don't have those numbers again. So I'm going to take my time and say the new number. You contact me at 384-5711. That's 384-5711, or you can go onto our Gmail. That's IAACA311@gmail.com. IAACA311@gmail.com. Meet me anywhere and give me the information. You can also come to our event on Saturday between the hours of 2 and 4 at the Shore Park Food Hub and be part of the planning committee.
All right, so there you have it, folks. Please get involved. Make sure that you are recommending find those people that are in need, because there's quite a lot of people that, that miss these opportunities that really, really need it. So make sure that the people that you recommend are those that are really in need.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Sackett, for being on with us. It's certainly a pleasure speaking with you this morning, and best of luck as we try to eliminate that from our society.
Thank you.
All right. Great. I want to thank you so much, viewers, for being here with us and for viewing. Have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.